World War II wasn't just a battle of soldiers, it was a desperate, panicked race for technological supremacy. This race gave us the jet engine, the nuclear age, and the dawn of computers. But for every genius idea, there was an insane one. We're not talking about tanks that were a little too slow. We're talking about weapons so absurd, so colossally expensive, they sound completely fake. Today, we're digging up the 5 biggest engineering fails of World War II. Behold the Maginot Line. This wasn't a wall, it was an underground nation of concrete and steel. After WWII, France was so traumatized, they spent a fortune on the ultimate keep out sign. We're talking subterranean railroads, air-conditioned living quarters, and pop-up turrets. It was considered absolutely unconquerable. But this masterpiece of engineering had a blind spot the size of a country. The French generals, brilliant in yesterday's war, declared the dense Ardennes forest to be impassable for tanks. So right there, the billion-dollar fortress just ended. They literally didn't bother building it. So what did the Germans do in 1940? They didn't even look at the line. They drove their panzers straight through the impassable forest, flanked the entire French army, and took Paris. France collapsed in 6 weeks. The Maginot Line became the most expensive, heavily armed speed bump in all of human history. If the Maginot Line was a dumb idea, this one was just weird. Meet the rat bomb, courtesy of Britain's SOE, the ungentlemanly department. The concept was as simple as it was gruesome. Step 1, get a dead rat. Step 2, gut it. Step 3, stuff it with high explosives. Step 4, sew it back up. Gross but brilliant. Here's the psychological genius of it. An agent drops the explosive rat into a factory's coal pile. The German coal stoker sees it. What does he do? He's not going to touch it. He's going to do the most logical thing in the world. Get rid of it by shoveling it directly into the furnace. Boom. But here's the ultimate punchline. The Germans intercepted the very first shipment. They found the rats. The secret was out. But this failure became an accidental success. The Germans became so paranoid, they assumed every dead rat was a bomb. They wasted thousands of man-hours on a massive nationwide rat hunt. The weapon failed, but the idea of it succeeded brilliantly. Okay, now for an Allied fail. It's 1944, the Allies are planning D-Day, but Hitler's Atlantic Wall stands in the way. This wasn't a fence, it was thousands of miles of reinforced concrete bunkers, machine gun nests, and obstacles. They needed a way to punch a hole, fast. Enter the Great Panjandrum. I am not making this up. It was 2 10-foot-tall steel wheels connected by an axle packed with 4,000 pounds of explosives. The propulsion system: just strap dozens of military-grade rockets to the wheels and light the fuse. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Everything went wrong. The tests were a legendary disaster. The rockets fired unevenly, making it spin out of control. They would break off and shoot into the terrified crowd. In its most famous test, it face-planted, turned around, and charged directly at the admirals, who had to run for their lives. It was a complete write-off. Let's jump to the German side, 1945. The war is now in the streets of Berlin. This is brutal, close-quarters combat. Every corner is a potential ambush. Peeking your head out to shoot is a great way to lose it. The problem: how to shoot around a corner. The German solution was literal, high-stakes cartoon logic. The Krumlauf, or curved barrel. It was an attachment for their high-tech STG-44 assault rifle that literally bent the barrel 30 or 45 degrees. Add a handy periscope, and voila! You can shoot bad guys while safely hiding behind a wall. Except it was a spectacular failure. Physics, it turns out, is not a suggestion. The incredible pressure and friction meant the barrel would destroy itself after just a few hundred shots. And the bullets didn't curve. They would smash into the bend and spray out the end as a completely useless cloud of shrapnel. Genius on paper, junk in reality. Finally, let's look up. By the end of the war, Allied bombers owned the skies over Germany. They flew so high at 25,000 feet that traditional anti-aircraft flak guns were almost useless. Germany, desperate for a Wunderwaffe, needed a new way to knock them down. This might be the most supervillain weapon on the list. The wind cannon, or wind cannon. It was a giant L-shaped cannon that didn't fire shells. Instead, it ignited a hydrogen-oxygen mix to create a powerful compressed air vortex, a giant invisible punch that would supposedly fly up and rip the wings off a bomber. On the ground, it was impressive. It could shatter a thick wooden plank from 600 feet away. The problem, 600 feet is not 25,000 feet. By the time the vortex traveled that high, it dissipated into, well, a light breeze. It was a complete failure, a weapon that literally just blew hot air. World War II was a crucible of innovation. It forged the jet engine, the computer, and the atomic bomb. But in the desperate race for a technological edge, not all ideas were brilliant. Some were spectacular, multi-million-dollar failures. Today we examine 5 of the most misguided engineering projects of the war.